A combat guide in 2024 that isn't necromancy? Whoa! In all seriousness though, combat training kind of sucks now that Elite Dungeons 3 has been nerfed into the ground. Some say it's good. I think in hindsight, it might have been a mistake, but that's a discussion for a different video. In this one, I will show you everything you need to know to go from 1 to 99 or 120 melee stats in the most optimal way possible. If you find this guide useful and you don't want to miss any of my other guides in the future, consider subscribing as we're trying to get to 10k subs by the end of 2025. Like the video if you do enjoy, let me know what other guides you'd like to see, and enough waffling, my name's Chevalric, and let's talk about it. Now this guide will be a bit different to what you might be used to, as I will mainly be focusing on training methods accessible to most people, instead of giving you niche methods that are really good, but require 20 quests to be completed. Sure, I will mention those methods, but they won't be the main focus in this video. The same goes for equipment, as I won't be giving you a setup for each method, but instead some general advice. And lastly, the EXP rates in this video might not be 100% accurate, as they are nowhere to be found since the combat XP rebalance, besides for the higher tier methods. So please keep that in mind, as they are educated guesses and might be slightly lower or higher depending on your gear and situation. Sure, I could test it, but the rates on a max main account will be different versus a level 40 account. Now that we got all the housekeeping out of the way, let's get into gear and useful items. In the general sense of things, I'd always use a two-hand weapon for the area of effect abilities in combination with your best DPS armor, and this will help you do more damage and will make it easier to sustain with things like Vampirism Aura and or a Vampirism Scrimshaw, both healing you with the amount of damage you put out. Which also applies to an item like the Blood Fury, which is great for sustain at any creature. And of course, if you have the Soul Split curse unlocked, use it, as it will heal 10% of the damage dealt. If you don't have it, simply use the relevant protection pairs for each specific monster. A little note on that too, even if you have Soul Split, if you are struggling to sustain at a specific method, try the relevant protection pair in combination with the various healing items like the Vampirism Aura, Scrimshaw or Blood Fury, as protection pairs damage reduction will sometimes be more beneficial to you than your Soul Split heals. On screen right now, you can also see a lot of other useful items that can help you during your training. The more the better, but I also understand that you probably don't have a lot of them unlocked yet. So rule of thumb, try to use as many as you can. If you're struggling with a method, simply try and unlock one of the recommended items that you can see on screen right now. And lastly, try and upgrade your gear as much as possible too. Focus on your weapon first and then your armor, as your weapon will have the most effect on both experience rates and healing effect with things like Vampirism and Soul Split. Another little tip I want to give you, if you are struggling with the next tier of monsters mentioned in this video, just stay at the previous mobs to get a few more levels and make sure to upgrade your gear to the relevant tier before you move on to the next method. The final thing I want to mention before we get into the leveling guide is your ability bar. Try and copy the one you see on screen right now, as it covers the majority of methods mentioned in this video and will do the job perfectly fine. If you haven't unlocked some of the abilities yet, like Meteor Strike, which unlocks at level 81, then you move every ability up one spot to the left, and of course add the missing abilities as soon as they become available. Now that we got all the prerequisites out of the way, let's jump into the leveling guide. To start off your training, you want to focus on slaying absolutely nothing, as quest will be your fastest way to get your early levels. The Waterfall quest, Tree Gnome Village and Fight Arena quest will give you 40 attack and 30 strength, and if you do the Holy Grail quest, you will get 30 defense as well. Now, no quests aren't everyone's cup of tea, but they are the best way to build your account. Not just time efficiency wise, but also for future account unlocks, as many of these quests will be required in the future for more important quest lines that truly have meaningful account unlocks. Now, if you really don't want to do quests, then slay some chickens or cows to level 30, because funnily enough, they are decent money, netting you nearly 2 million GP profit an hour for some weird reason. Once you've done quests or committed a farmicide, you want to make your way over to Fort Thorntree. east of Varrock, where you will find fetid zombies. These mobs are roughly 20 to 30k experience an hour, and your desired training method to get level 40 in all your combat stats. As they are undead creatures, you want to use a Salve Amulet if you have one for a 20% damage and accuracy increase. For levels 40 to 60, you want to make your way northwest of the Cannabis Lodestone to slay some ghouls for roughly 40 to 60k experience an hour. These creatures are not always aggressive, so if you want to fully AFK them, you either want to use a cannon or aggression potions. At level 60, you'll be introduced to your newest besties, the Bound Skeletons, found north of Fort 4 and 3 near the crypt. These lovely bony boys will be roughly 80 to 120k experience an hour at these levels. Just like the fetid zombies, these are undead, so make sure to use your Salve Amulet, and they will also remain aggressive, so perfect for AFK. From level 70 to 80, you want to kill these new bony boys called Bound Skeletons. Oh wait, they're the same. The same thing goes for killing them at level 60. They are north of Fort 4 and 3, remain aggressive, Salve will work, and will now net you roughly 150 to 180k experience an hour. If you have 85 Slayer, Abyssal Demons will also be a relevant training method, as they will net you 200 to 250k experience an hour, but it does require a high Slayer level. These are best found and killed near the Wilderness Obelisk at level 17 Wilderness. From levels 80 to 90, you want to be killing, wait for it, Bound Skeletons, north of Fort 4 and 3 with a Salve Amulet, remaining aggressive, and now netting you 250k experience an hour. Yeah, so about that ED3 nerf, yeah? Anyway, there are alternatives at this level though, as armored zombies, unlocked via the Devendral Varrock quest, are roughly 300k experience an hour, but require a quest and are found by talking to Hardwin in the northwestern tower of the Varrock Castle, who teleports you to an instance version of the wilderness where you can climb down a trapdoor and find these bad boys. And obviously, for the 85 Slayer havers, Abyssal Demons are still really good, now averaging 250 to 300k experience an hour. Now there's one final alternative at these levels, but they are slightly stronger at this combat bracket, so less AFK. But they will net you a significant amount of experience, Ravenous Ghouls, which can now net you close to 450k experience an hour at this level, at the cost of them being less AFK. Found northwest of the Cannabis Lodestone, in the Mausoleum, stand somewhere in the middle and pray for the best. And finally, levels 90 to 99 or 120, the best training methods are Bound Skeletons. No, I'm kidding. There are actually two options. Ravenous Ghouls at 750k experience an hour if you don't have Slayer levels, found northwest of the Cannabis Lodestone in the Mausoleum, which should now be fully AFK at these levels, as long as you have the relevant tier 80 or 90 gear. Yet, if you do happen to have 105 Slayer, you can AFK Abyssal Beast for over 1 million combat experience an hour, which does require some better gear, and it's even recommended to have trimmed masterwork and even a scythe. So if you have these, Abyssal Beasts are your best friends. Obviously, you can try out this method with lower tier gear, but you might not be able to sustain for a long period of time and get the same results. And that is all. Everything you need to know about training combat from 1 to 99 or 120 after the combat XP rebalance. On screen right now, you can find another video to watch, leave a like if you found it useful, subscribe if you are new, and my name's Chevalric, and I'll see you guys in my next video.